Great. We are live. Thank you so much, everybody. I am Ashish Banka, National President of HR Sampark and an HR leader. Great to be back on the fourth podcast episode. I thank all of you for this generous, shower of blessings on these episodes. While we try to bring a unique problem statement and an HR leader every time, this time we have somebody very unique, somebody whom I've connected very recently but became very close. The land of Nizams and somebody from Hyderabad. I invite and welcome on all of your behalf to Chaitanya Kanthi, ma'am. She's an accomplished HR leader, strategist with strong records of achievement, business partnership, leadership development, and chain management. She was associated with Dr. Reddy's, GE, Vodafone, and Novartis when she started with her career. She was in the leadership role as VP HR with AK and Associates. Currently, she is with Smart IMS Inc as Senior Director HR. She is also a fellow Samparkian member for the Hyderabad chapter and very active one, keeps guiding me a lot of things. While one important thing I want to tell about Chaitanya is the warmth she showers really comes across, and I remember her coming forward and being empathetic about anybody's loss. I that touched really Chaitanya about this personality. While today we were discussing with Chaitanya and what should we do, a very interesting topic which we came forward and we thought this would do a justice is women, female leadership in the corporate structure. We are talking to a women and we are not talking about diversity existence, but we're talking about female leadership in per se. And I think this would be the right paradigm to get Chaitanya's view. She's a great speaker and very smooth. So you would all love to hear her. Thank you so much, Chaitanya, for taking time out on a busy working day and doing this for Sampark family.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Many kind words from your side, and I'm very happy to meet the audience. And let's keep this discussion active and genuine from our side. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
much.
Before we speak to the actual topic, women in leadership, could you help us setting the context from an DNI perspective, Chaitanya?
Sure, Ashish. So, what does diversity mean to us, right? Diversity means recognizing the differences around us, like race, religion, gender, region, physical ability, nationality, ethnicity. So, whatever I've spoken until now are the visible kind of areas of differences. Now, there are also certain invisible areas like the thought process diversity, the diversity on sexual orientation, and things like that. So, broadly, this is diversity. Now, what's inclusion? Because when we speak of diversity, it's incomplete when we don't speak about inclusion. So, just having different personalities in a given setup is not sufficient. We should be taking measures to ensure all these categories of people feel included, feel valued, the difference is respected, they're given equal opportunity, they don't feel discriminated, whether it's formal platforms, informal platforms. So, broadly, this is DNA.
Thanks for the setting up the foundation, Chaitanya. What do you think about representation of women in leadership roles?
Women in leadership roles, right? So, let's look at some data. So, in 2019, the proportion of women in senior management roles globally stood at 29%. And that was 2019, right? And the pandemic in 2020. So it remained the same, 29%. 2021, it moved from 29 to 31%. And this is the highest recorded till date. The representation of women leadership globally is at 31% as of last year. Now, that is about general leadership. Speaking specifically about the CEOs, say in Fortune 500 companies, right? 15% of the Fortune 500 companies have women leaders. Uh, isn't this better than a situation what we had about a decade ago? I'm
Correct.
sure the needle has moved quite a bit.
Yes, but still, when we talk about knowing that why we are talking about this problem for setting up the audience a context, why there is such a gender gap, and why we are discussing this topic. Why do you find, as a women leader, this is a problem statement which we all need to come together and solve?
Hmm. So, Ashish, according to me, I think we should divide this into the reasons into say four broad buckets. One could be the stereotyping that say only men can do certain roles or only women can do certain roles. Two could be discrimination, both conscious and unconscious. Three could be lack of certain networking opportunities for women. And the four is pretty obvious, the work life balance issues.
Mm.
So, one commonly spoken element is about less opportunities to network, whether it's on a smoke break or any of these things, because women generally thinks okay, work and then rush home. uh, but organizations also have been conscious about some of these aspects, and they've created certain formal, informal forums for the networking, opportunities to showcase, not just for women but for all also. And Ashish, I'd like to speak about one little aspect. It's called the broken rung. Okay. Um, so those in careers also get promoted. So the first promotion that happens there itself, for say 100 men and 100 women in a given setup or a given population demography, only 87% women get the first promotion for every 100 men who get promoted.
Mm.
So the first promotion itself, there is a 13% gap that's created. Now, where will you speak about the topmost leadership? Right at the beginning, there is a broken run. So that maybe organizations can do something conscious at that level.
Very valid point you brought it, Chaitanya, because I was in one of the women forums where they said that men shifts ends after office hours and women continuously does three shifts, 8 8 8. They have to manage house, they have to manage. While we were also talking, we are talking about this gap. Is one of the reason is the gender imbalance which we have in the country, because that is
Mhm.
due to geographical reasons or society reasons, whatever it is. But when we are
Yes.
focusing on corporate world, the itself the first place the gap has created, as you also mentioned. But in corporates, when we talk about female leadership, do you feel that still that is looked as a taboo? Does there had a taboo, or it is very well accepted universally now that there is no gender discrimination happening?
Probably in some of the very traditional industries to a certain extent, there might be, but I think more or less in corporates, in certain sectors, progressive sectors like ours, I think it is not. Consciously, it is not. Subconsciously, it may, because there are certain words that we hear, like belittling microaggressions. Sometimes the judgment of women is questioned. Sometimes even senior women are mistaken to be junior. Why? No, I just thought. So this is the kind of thing that happens not consciously, many a time unconsciously. So.
Uh, we talk about you did your engineering from Kakatiya way back, and then
Mhm,
you did your post graduation. Now you are also pursuing your LLB. There is an
mhm,
association of dream to your journey itself. When you
hmm.
look at this resonating towards laterally towards other women of your genre, do you think that women, and I'm just asking on behalf of the audience, do you feel the dream quotient aspiration is less in women and they are more looking to build the family and be the construct of the family?
Very good question, Ashish. Uh, so, women of today's generation, and again, I'm not speaking, research is speaking, that they're extremely ambitious. And
Hmm.
this is a great pointer to organizations that they better build good platforms to ensure women are equally recognized and rewarded. Because again, it says that for the same quantum of work, women are less recognized and less rewarded. So, ambition wise, trust me, women today are very ambitious.
Yeah, and everybody we come across in our societies and everywhere there are working parents who are there. Women is so we have come off, at least in the urban area, of that mindset of women and men similarity dissimilarity. But in the corporate structure, which is our problem statement, that when we look out how
Mhm.
many VPs are CEOs, how many CEOs are females, how many directors are females, it is also, you mentioned, based on the industry specificness, irrespective of the sector which we work, what we should do differently to increase this representation of female leadership in corporate.
Okay, so I think there are multiple roles that one can play. So, managers, I'm sure, should be rewarded. Managers who specifically have their team members getting promoted or doing larger assignments, some of these things, I'm sure, should be promoted. Organizations should create specific mentoring programs for potential women, and it's not that they're not doing, many organizations are doing, and in certain setups that I have worked, right? So when there is a particular leadership and above position, it is very clear that you get a female candidate, you fill the position, otherwise let the position be open. That level of mandates have happened in the past, and I'm not speaking about now, 20 years ago also this happened. So organizations are doing and should be doing much more to create platforms, flexible working opportunities, and multiple other things.
Very nice. I think you brought out the aspect of how we can troubleshoot this problem statement.
Mhm.
But also in terms when we talk about, there's an interesting question from the audience which has come to me on WhatsApp. Is are female better managers or better leaders or men better leaders?
Okay, so it's a good question, and I think there is no competition. We complement each other, and there is absolutely no question of competition. It's just that there seems to be a little imbalance. That's all. Now, uh, we are speaking about the concept of diversity, and definitely men are different and women are different in general, while we are all human beings. And I will give you some non-corporate examples. Okay, so let me start with corporate example and then give you a non-corporate example. Research shows that companies with a greater gender diversity, not in the overall workforce, only in the leadership I'm speaking about, they're significantly more profitable, right? And you look at the numbers. For every 10% increase in women leaders, the organizational earnings grow not by 1%, not by 2%, but by 3.5%. And this is backed up by data, right? So they're different. It's just that they're different. You need a representation. We're not saying, oh, have all leaders as women. No, that's not what we're saying. There should be a balanced representation, is what the recommendations are. And coming to non-corporate examples, right? When you have ladies in the topmost decision making, like the legislatures and all, in those countries, the income disparities are very low.
Hmm.
And this is again multiple countries. There is a trend, right? Wherever women are associated with some of the treaties that are signed, the peace treaties and all that, there is a 15% greater success rate in peace being maintained when women are part of that. So this is all data. It's not about women and men being different. Sorry, who is better? Just being
No, but
different.
I think the answer came that finance and home ministers are much better, So, so we agree that. But there's another question which has come in. I like this question asked by Nishant, who is a HR, budding HR professional. He's saying that when we talk about women representative in corporate, even nowadays in Western countries, being a homemaker is looked at as a full-time assignment. You can also go back and put wages to that. Why don't we are only talking about corporate in a corporate setup? Why not homemakers, which India has the maximum representation, and the houses are glued together because of the effort of a woman or a female? Why don't we recognize that as corporate?
So compare the generations, Ashish. In the past, I mean, say in our parents' generation, right? We did have cases where even women with good potential were told, okay, take a back seat, take care of children, take care of their education, take care of the elder parents. Dare not somebody says this now. Very rarely you find it, right? So there is a shift. uh, how do you put a monetary value to it? uh, I think it's a cultural aspect, and I'm sure you can't measure it. You can't measure certain things like love, affection, service for my family. If it's service, otherwise it's different. Service for the family, I'm sure women might not want to. I don't know. I shouldn't
You
speak
have
on
put
behalf.
such a sensitive subject. It
It's
can't be
sensitive.
debated. It's very
Yes.
can't be debated. But also, to when you talked about representation audience, there are many. I would encourage all of you, and many HR leaders have been starting following this. Please do not, if in any time you go to a conference or any time, if you see only male representation on the dais, I think we should voice that out and say we cannot have a manel. So if all males are there, that's called a panel discussion, and we should not do that as part of professionals. We should discourage that and ensure that we have female representation. If the ratio, what Chaitanya was trying to say, even if we assume that for every 10 men there is one woman, at least in a panel of 10 you should have one woman. If the whatever the gender ratio is in the society in India should be equally the same in the corporate. We are not asking that you build everybody female, but if that ratio is 1 is to 10, you should have that in the companies as well. uh, Another question on this is society, CK, is
Hmm.
the society has any role in building this corporate female representation?
Well, good question, Ashish. So, many women experience bias, probably not just because of the gender, but also because of some of other parameters like, say, social status, sexual orientation, disability. So, multiple aspects of diversity. So, there is a compounded discrimination, uh, and not a conscious one, right? So there is definitely a compounded discrimination, is what it says. But society, as you said, has moved the needle. The way career women are being treated is very different. And not just society, look at technology also, right? uh,
Hmm.
so the instant grocery and the delivery, vegetable delivery system and all that, they're a blessing. It not just saves time but also frees up the mental space, right? Avenues for childcare and all that have not been great in the past. So I think society is today helping to reduce the challenges and bottlenecks to progress to a very large extent today.
Nice. I think that is a very important point, which we all, as integral part of the society, should also influence, positively influence to the right way. What
Yes.
you should feel, nowadays women are aspiring, dreaming, which we all have understood after your, making us clear. But what in generally should a woman do to contribute to women leadership? I think we are now talking on the other side that women should be given everything. They should be given the right platform, right encouragement, right policies, right reservation system in the companies. So this
Not
should be
reservation system, definitely. Okay, sensitive though, but yes, disparity reduction
correct,
mechanisms, I'm
correct,
sure.
correct.
Yeah.
So, but what is to be done from the women's end? If you can focus that,
Good
because
question.
so what should we focus? Ask women to do it. What is your advice to
Sure,
all the
Ashish.
women
I think
across?
it's a very important question. And as I reflect, right, I think women should need to feel equal and they should not expect a special treatment at workplace. Now,
Hmm,
does it mean that women are not special? No, she's very special. But that better be felt internally rather than becoming an expectation from, say, the society or the organization.
hmm.
Women need to stand up for themselves, they need to articulate their aspirations better. Women also need to be independent, smart, be a strong voice that people just turn back and take notice of the person, right? Um,
Hmm.
they need to continue to sharpen the saw, uh, upgrade the skills, never lose opportunity to showcase what they are doing, what they can do. It is also not necessary to be the best always, because there are certain phases in life that one needs to take a back seat and say, okay, let go. That's also fine. Detachment is also important. Women, while they say that women are relatively more emotional, relatively less decisive, I think women should avoid shedding a tear in public. People say, oh, it's okay to express emotions, but there are certain perceptions and impressions that are created. I will suggest that women manage their emotions better, and always break the comfort zone, go beyond the comfort zone every stage of career.
I think what you said, it is real professionalism, CK, because we have heard so many, right, from childhood. We are talking about women diversity, percentage which every organization generally has 10%. We spoke about women rights, we spoke about everything. Today we have come of ages when we talked about before the eve of IWD. We are talking about not women's existence, we are talking about women's leadership. And I think
True.
this is a great needle shift. And today we are also talking about not only what society, men, people, corporates have to do for them. You are also advising that what women should do. I think we have moved a great way, and I think this will get improved better and better as the ages come. I think there has been
I'm sure
certain.
there will be one day where we don't need to speak about this.
No,
Probably decent
I think
representation.
diversity, which you also mentioned, is embracing uh, differences, embracing different personalities without uh, being judgmental on them. That's how we look at
Yes.
diversity as a. I just realized we just crossed 20 minutes and we have promised to all the audience that we will keep it. But final closing remarks, CK, from you on this subject.
Sure, sure, Ashish. I think companies should do certain take certain steps to ensure that there is a better representation. Because if companies don't take action now, and we said women are very ambitious, they're watching how their women leaders are being treated, right?
Mm.
So subconsciously they say, "Oh, if my women leaders are being treated, this is a right place to be in." Right? Employee connectedness, gathering regular feedback, I think is one step that organizations should take. I'm sure the trends are very good, encouraging. So let us together look forward to a very happy, beautiful, diverse world where everybody thrives, succeeds, Ashish. And maybe I would say that it's very wonderful to be part of the HR Sampark podcast. Thank you so much, and namaste.
Thank you so much, CK, for doing this. I think the entire phenomenon of building senior fellowship, I think, comes with the right kind of guidance, which can come from leaders like you, not only to enlighten the young minds, but also telling the peer group that what has to be done. And thank you so much, CK, for taking time out. I am thoroughly, delighted to have you as one of the Sampark members of Hyderabad chapter, and believing
Pleasure.
in the concept. Thank you so much, CK. Loved this discussion. I think we will not be there, but these kind of ideologies will go a long way in the digital media in future. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
audience,
much
for
for the
joining
opportunity.
on a weekday, and stay blessed and have a safe Holi to all of you.
Thank you.